Hello.
Hi, guys.
Today we are answering your frugal questions, and you can thank ChatGPT for this show idea today. So we posted in there, what do we talk about for frugal living? And it said that, so we were like, okay. So we're going to get into our first question. Lee says, any suggestions on how to remove nicotine from a house I bought? So Mom has her way she did it, and I have my way I did it. I had an apartment that I painted in exchange for rent one time that had nicotine just running off the walls. And then Mom and Mike were cleaning houses for repossession type thing at one time. So go ahead.
And the nicotine, I think the people lived there for like 30 years or something, were heavy smokers. And we tried all kinds of different of the cleaners we had with us. And it was thick. It was almost like a Jell-O stuck on there on the outside.
Kind of a sticky,
gooey stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just got my Dow bathroom cleaner, the foam stuff, and sprayed it on there and just left it for a second, went back in, and it was just rolling all that stuff right off. It just came right off. I just wiped it with a damp rag then, and it was all taken care of.
Kimberly says she uses 409 and microfiber cloth. That would probably work too.
Yeah, that would work too. I was going to say too, if you have like a stain of a drop, what are the acoustic like drop ceiling?
Yep, acoustic tiles.
And you sometimes will get a water stain. And I didn't know what to do for that. I had one of those for years, didn't know. I finally took and just sprayed some Clorox with water with some little bit of Clorox in it, and I just sprayed it up there on that, and that totally took care of that water stain on that type of tile.
Now you have to be careful of the Dow because it will strip some paints and finishes, as I learned, because I was so happy with myself cleaning at our house that I grew up in, and I was like, oh, look at me, I'm cleaning all this stuff off the back of the stove, and it stripped all of the varnish off of
the paneling.
She
was dancing along, just singing, look at here, and she's just going along, spraying this stuff, and I'm just watching all the wood finish pouring down off the paneling.
So I don't recommend Dow because it will do that.
What I would do is, like anything, you're supposed to test it on a certain area, and this place was so far gone. If it stripped the paint off, it would have been in better shape. Yeah.
Now I just used Dawn dish soap, and that got it off for me. But I did eventually paint the walls anyway. And if you're going to paint, you have to prime.
Yeah.
Because if you miss any of getting the nicotine off, it is going to seep through the paint.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to put a primer on there and seal it in if you really want to get rid of it.
And I always use an oil-based primer, even though it's messier to use. I've tried the water-based. It does not seal it. I've had this stuff come through.
You have to get it sealed.
You have to use oil-based primer.
All right, guys, before we get started, our cookbooks are 50% off for our Mother's Day sale. As you guys know, if you've been here for a while, we very, very rarely put them 50% off. But right now, if you buy volume 1 and volume 2, it's 50% off. Or if you buy all 3 with our gluten-free, it is 50% off. Otherwise, it's 40% off for our Mother's Day sale. If you order now, you will get them in time for Mother's Day. We also have our print books, or our price books, printed price books, and then our undated planners, 400 pages. I think we only have about 30 or 40 of those left to help you get organized right now. So our Mother's Day sale is on the way. And as you guys know, we don't put our books 50% off unless we're moving. This is the only time we've done it when we haven't been moving. So, in 3 years.
And graduation will be coming up too. If you've got college kids leaving home or whatever, they're really good. The cookbooks are really good for that.
Yeah.
For a gift.
Okay. Next question is, Just He and Me says, you should have been painting furniture. I have tried a couple of times with lackluster results. I have a dresser I want to revamp. Any tips? Paint suggestions, sending advice. So first of all, I have a whole video where I went and did 10 different pieces of furniture showing you. But the main thing is to make sure you clean it well. Sand it or prime it if you're not going to sand it. And if you don't want to do either of those, they have no sand stuff that you can get and wipe on there. I find it helps, but it's really better if you sand or prime. And any paint suggestions, I mean, we just use latex and just go for it. I mean, you'll have to seal the top with a polyurethane if you're doing like a table or a nightstand or coffee table or something like that. But it's really not that hard. I don't know. You didn't say what your results were, so I can't really troubleshoot for you. If you want to post what your results were, I can maybe see if I can figure out what you did. But yeah, I mean, we've painted stuff for years. That's all we've done.
Yeah, I usually do a real light sanding. Then I put the no sand stuff on and kills if I think it's going to need it, or primer. And then I just put a coat of latex, and my stuff usually works pretty good, stays on pretty good, I mean.
Yeah. And Terry wants to know, what's the difference between volume 1 and the rolled edition binder? I think she means our spiral edition. It depends. I don't know which spiral you have. We had like 6 or 7 different spiral editions. So this is our newest one. It has most of the spirals. It has 40 more recipes. If it's the 20th anniversary, it's the same book. And Mindy is making maple glazed chicken out of our volume 1. Thank you, Mindy, for sharing that, because that's pretty darn too good, isn't it? All right, you can send me the next one, Mike. Eva, I need to get a work from home job using a laptop. I do not have a laptop, but I need to buy one. I have very little money and really can't afford it. Any suggestions on how to get one for a used price? So a couple of things. You can look for refurbished ones, and we get all ours from my brother,
I
who
was going to say my son's,
who collects them just from different people he knows, different jobs he's had. They've been throwing them out and said, "Do you want this?" And he's like, "Sure." My kids have gotten them from school when the schools were getting them. Friends, just look around. You got to kind of be a little bit savvy to know, if it's going to work or not. But what you might do is do something else aside from on the computer, like house cleaning, gardening, baking stuff, dog walking, mowing lawns, shoveling snow, whatever you can to earn the money for that first.
I would spread the word around too. If you can talk to family members and friends, neighbors, people at church, and say, if you know of anybody that's getting rid of a computer that's still, working fine. I get a lot of things when I let everybody know what I'm needing, by spreading the word.
And Tracy says, "Hey guys, grab those planners. They are great." And I'm on her second one, and they said they would never be on sale. Don't know, will they print again? They had said they would not. At this point, we're not printing again. So this is probably going to be the last 40 that we have at the moment. So if you want one, grab it. They are darn tootin' good planners. Okay. Did you get that sent, Mike? Oh, sorry. Okay. Call for Life of Chronic Illness says, "Sure enjoy the knowledge y'all share." Thank you.
Thank you.
Kimberly says, "Good to know, because we usually just paint over the spot, but I'm going to try that because I do have some of those white drop ceilings from our house that was remodeled in 1969 or 70 and no updates since then." Yeah, you can just spray it. You can also get the ceiling spray. Like if you don't have the tiles, you can just, what's it called? The drywall stuff. What is that called?
Sheetrock?
No, the sheetrock the plaster stuff. Well, it comes in a can, and you can just spray it up there, and that'll work too sometimes. Shelly, do you or your mom have any recommendations for a good area to buy and live in Kansas? Don't. If you're going to ask me. No. Kansas is nice, but the weather is awful. So, I mean, pretty much anywhere in Kansas. On the east side, it is very wet and humid. On the west side, it is very dry and arid. On the east side, there's a whole bunch of trees. On the west side, there is no trees. Like, you'll go miles without seeing trees. The east side is populated. The west side isn't.
I really, even though it was the weather was pretty bad, Wichita was not a bad town.
Yeah, the town's nice. The
it's a
weather's
large,
just awful.
yeah, it's a larger city. As a matter of fact, it's the largest city in Kansas, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's not like a Denver or something like that. It's just it has everything you need for a large city there, but you can make it across town in what, 15, 20 minutes from one side of town to the other. And just as a general smaller, large city, it's really pretty pleasant. You
Just
know.
depends on what you want. If you want amenities, you're going to have to stay towards Wichita, Topeka, Manhattan, Kansas City on the Kansas side. That's pretty much all you've got. Salina a little bit. And then pretty much everything else is just small town.
But Wichita is also kind of centrally located. So if you have family to the north, like in Nebraska or that direction, or to Colorado or to Texas, you're equal distance, you know, from all those places. And it's not so hard to get to if you have to drive too. It's real easy to hit I-70. I-35 that goes north and south, one of the main intersections, is easy to hit if you're going to be doing any amount of traveling. So it has a nice airport, you know, so it's pretty
the
much,
prices
it just
are
depends
reasonable.
on
What you want.
Yeah, the prices are reasonable.
I will tell you though, if you go and buy in a small town, you're going to have to make sure you want to stay in that small town, because there is no guarantee you will get your money back if you go to sell that house.
Yeah.
So Kansas is not like, you know, other parts of the country where
people are flocking there.
People are flocking. I mean, they might be a little bit, but you know, you just be prepared to lose money if you're going to go and resell your house. So,
well, and one thing,
don't pay too much for it in the first place.
Well, one thing about Wichita too, like you guys lived in Andover, and there's Goddard. They're a little bit smaller towns, kind of on the edge of Wichita, but they're close enough. They're almost part of it, so you can find a couple of little towns around Wichita too if you want something.
Yeah. Naomi, why do you use wash rags to clean dishes instead of a sponge? Is it because sponges don't last, just because they're cheaper?
And sponges, I was from Wichita, and the humidity was so high that sponges tend to keep the moisture in. My dish rags that I had dried out almost instantly because they were so much thinner.
So they don't mildew.
And they don't mildew. Now, another thing I like about dish rags, thin dish rags than a sponge, is like this mug here. Look at this tiny bottom. To try to get a sponge in there, and if I had hot chocolate stuck down in there, trying to get that sponge down in there, it's so much harder for me with my hands are smaller too, to get that big old sponge. Where a dish rag, I'll just wrap it around my finger and, you know, and get right down in there. So I can get into corners better with a dish rag. That's why I personally like a dish rag.
Yeah, and it's cheap.
Yeah.
Let's see. Weddings. Kimberly wants to know, for cheap weddings. My goodness, people, what is with people in weddings nowadays? You don't need to have a ridiculous wedding. You can have just a few people, even just 50 people, and just you don't have to have a full course meal. You don't have to have a DJ. You don't have to have a band. You don't have to all this stuff. You can just have a few people with some cake and, you know, hors d'oeuvres, and just leave it really small and simple.
And that's what we did at Tara's wedding. We just had the cake, and then we had some little small sandwiches, and I think some chips or nuts or something, mince and stuff like that. And, you know, it was funny because we had a whole bunch of family members come, you know, and different things to her wedding. And one of the compliments we kept getting from everybody was, we didn't have a sit-down dinner where everybody was sitting down at tables and stuff. Everybody had just their plates of hors d'oeuvres and cake, and they were mingling. They loved it. It was like a big, huge family reunion. Everybody was visiting with everybody and walking around and talking to everybody. When you have a large dinner, I'm trying to show you the pros to this over having a big dinner. You're just sitting at the one table with maybe 6 to 8 people at this table. And they said this has been the warmest, most pleasant, enjoyable wedding they'd been to in ages. And it wasn't too much longer after Tara's wedding. There was another wedding that we went to, and they had the huge sit-down dinner with all that. And people even there that had been to Tara's wedding kept saying Tara's wedding was so warm and so comfortable, and people really enjoyed it. She was there. That's because she was there, Mike said. Stop thinking as a big Hollywood production thing that you have to put on. It should be intimate, it should be warm, and it's a celebration of two people that care about each other getting married, and that should be the main gist of it, you know.
Two people who don't care about each other having to get married.
Oh, also, well, you wanted to. I'm just going to skip over you. Also, for things like, to be more practical too, you can I would go to a thrift store and get a wedding dress. You can find some beautiful wedding gowns.
We got our rings at the pawn shop.
Don't worry about having 100 bridesmaids. Just have a couple of bridesmaids, and you can get beautiful dresses at thrift stores, you know, and discount. The flowers, find somebody that you know that can maybe do the flowers for you.
I did all my own flowers.
Keep the flowers simple. You need a bride's bouquet. My gals just had a white fur muff. They were very inexpensive back then, and they had a white fur headband. It was in a winter wedding, and they had a white fur muff with no flowers. So the ends of pew markers where you put the flowers on the end of the pew. My mom and I went and picked weeds out in the fields. It was winter, and they were like thistles. What were they? They're long, narrow thistle type weeds. We spray painted them blue and put a big white ribbon on them, and that's what we use for pew markers. So just use your imagination and start, you know, checking around, which you are doing by asking us, you know, to get ideas and things.
Jacqueline says, I never buy cleaning products anymore. I only use your cleaning recipes. Yes, in our Dining in a Dime, Volume 1 and Volume 2, we have cleaning recipes. If you buy them both together, they're 50% off. We have not had 50% off in 3 years, and we've only done it, I think, 2 or 3 other times when we've moved. So if you guys want it, grab it.
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning the cleaning products, because a lot of people don't realize our cookbooks have, you know, the cleaning products and all kinds of stuff toiletries that you can make, you know, soaps and different things like that in there. So it's more than just a cookbook.
Barbara. Hello, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Your books on eBay have nearly 100% sell-through rate. I may have to buy some at half price and make a profit reselling them. Please do. Please do. Is that not the most insane thing ever? And I'm okay if you want to do that. I can't fathom that. I truly can't. They'll buy our books and they'll turn it around and sell it at full price or higher on eBay. And I don't know if they just don't know that we're the only place you can get it or what, but yeah. Denise says she's going to buy Volume 1 and Volume 2 for her daughter who's getting married this fall. Buy it now, because I don't think it's going to be 50% off unless we just have some other catastrophe in our life, which at this rate it could happen. Yeah. But, you know. I mentioned graduations, but weddings will be coming around too. So yeah, it's a great idea. Thank you for ordering.
Yeah.
Vicki, you can send me the next one, Mike. Has anyone ever had milk that you froze, ended up busting open and leak everywhere once you thawed it out? Any suggestions? Yes, you didn't take any milk out when you went to freeze it. You have to take 1/4 to 1/2 cup out before you freeze it. Now, I had the milk jugs that had the indentation on the side, and those would just poof out, and that would be fine. So I didn't have to. But that's why it expanded and froze.
What I would do is I would buy a couple of, if it was on sale, I'd buy a couple of half gallons and then I would take a pitcher and I would just pour a little bit in the pitcher, put those in the freezer and use what's in the pitcher then.
Jim, hello. I got your other email too. You want to move a lot of books out. Yes, we do. We need cash, and we are giving you guys our financial upset this last month has been your advantage. So take advantage of it while you can. Cheyenne, will we get more planners? Probably not. We are not planning on reordering. So if you love our planners, get yourself a couple of them. Mindy. Oh, I read Mindy's. Melissa, why can't you use whipped butter for baking? Because they add water and or milk to it and it changes the recipe.
The liquid content of the recipe.
It depends. You could possibly, specifically for baking, you really can't change it. What you could possibly do if you're just really desperate is add an extra tablespoon or 2 of oil and an extra tablespoon or 2 of flour if you're really, really desperate. I have done that and it has turned out okay. And why that makes a difference is it has extra milk or water in the butter. So the extra oil gives it the oil it needs, and the extra flour gives it the extra bulk it needs to absorb the extra moisture. So, edifying. Baby Bible study was canceled tonight. She needs to come up with dinner and nothing is thawed. Think we should get dinner? Just joking. You're so funny. As a matter of fact, I just did a video tonight on I cooked dinner in literally 5 minutes because it was a show night. So Terry stays at people's houses and watches their animals to earn extra money.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Mindy, we don't have a truck anymore, but we just grabbed some free pallets and put them in the back of our Forerunner. Free firewood. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I have right behind this wall here probably 30 pallets.
I've hauled them in the trunk of my little, about the size of a small Toyota. I've hauled them in the trunk of that before. I carry bungee cords. Always carry bungee cords in your trunk because you can get more stuff stuffed in a trunk than you can imagine.
Nancy, I've made a ton of meatloaves, but made yours the first time on Saturday, and her husband said it was the best meatloaf ever.
Well, thank you.
I know it is because I don't like meatloaf. And I looked, I don't know how many meatloaves I tested. I tested a lot of meatloaves, and that was the one that I finally came up that wasn't gross. Jim, we have a white inside door that has several black marks on it. What is the best way to remove it? I'm hoping not to have to remove the door. So those magic erasers, just get one of those. That'll take it right off. And the Dollar Tree ones work just as good as the Walmart ones. They're not as sturdy and thick, but for the price difference, it's no big deal. And here's another thing. For those of you who use those a lot, Amazon sells them in bulk. So you can get 50 for like $20 or something. And so you can get 50 for the price of what, 4 or 5 of them. I don't know how many come in a pack now, but it's significantly cheaper.
I've also used those on my cast iron bathtub or kitchen sink if there's been marks in there of some sort, and they work really good for marks that you can't get off in there a lot of times.
Melissa says TSP is used to remove nicotine. Yes, TSP is very good to use nicotine. You can do that. Susan says, Hayes, Kansas, we have tons of trees. Yeah, in the city, you have tons of trees in Kansas. What I'm saying is naturally, pretty much the cutoff line is about I-35. It's actually about probably 30 or 40 miles. East of I-35 is where you have natural trees in Kansas. And the whole rest of the other 5/8 of Kansas doesn't have natural trees. I mean, there's trees in the cities, but not just naturally. Now, I love the 2 weeks of spring and the 2 weeks of fall that Kansas has. I'm good with that. Mm-hmm.
Wichita is a nice town.
The other 48 weeks of the year, I can't stand the weather.
Hard on the wind, and the wind. It wasn't so much when Tara was there, but it got worse the last 2 years that I was there. The wind was blowing so hard. Every single day we had almost 50-mile-an-hour winds, it seemed like. It may be better now, but the wind's pretty bad too.
Yeah. And yes, the people are very friendly. Mm-hmm. There is how do I say this nicely? There is an attitude in Kansas, which I've seen this, it's not just Kansas, but like Oklahoma and Arkansas and Missouri and that. There's an attitude that a lot of people have of you can't ever do anything better. This is always just going to be the life you have. Ambition. That's the word I'm looking for. There's no ambition. So if you're looking for a place that has ambition, Kansas is not the place probably for you.
It's too hot and humid to have much ambition.
But people are really, really nice. And I don't mind the scenery myself, maybe just because I grew up there, but I just don't like the weather. I like to have a cool summer.
And don't let the tornadoes worry you either, because I felt safer actually in Wichita with tornadoes than I do here in Wyoming, because they will have them once in a great while here. But I'm more frightened here because in Kansas, almost everybody has a basement. Majority of people have basements or something like that. And we have sirens. They start warning us, days ahead of time. We're going to be having storms. Yeah. Yeah, most of the time. But they're very well covered in this area. I think we were one of the first ones that had Doppler radar, which helps, with the tornadoes and all that type of thing. So they've gotten I feel more secure there than I do any place else because of tornadoes.
Okay, let's see. Susan says, just sold our house in Colby and made a nice profit. Good. She said a lot of people from California and Colorado moving to Western Kansas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long they're going to stay. I mean, that's fine. But just like Wyoming, after their first winter here, they're kind of like, what were we thinking? And that's actually a real thing. There's a lot of articles on people who have moved from like Atlanta to Denver thinking that it was going to be this great and wonderful thing. And they get to Denver and it's not all it cracked up to be. So, yeah. One guy was saying how he never realized that people weren't friendly. It's like, nope, you cannot make a friend in Colorado to save your life. I'm not kidding. We were there 10 years and we did finally have three of our neighbors that we were, I would consider better friends with. But even all of them, we've only seen them once since we moved. So, it's not like they were the bestest of friends, but we were good friends with them. But people in Colorado just don't like being friends. They don't do that there.
You need to go down south if you want friends.
If you want friends, go
down
to south.
I love the south for friends.
Dale says he used the roast sticky chicken seasoning to roast a chicken and made gravy potatoes, corn on the cob. It tasted so good. Saved the bones for soup. Yep, very good.
Yum.
Also, guys, our 50% off includes the 3-book set. If a lot of people buy our 3-book set, so grab that too.
Notice he said save the bones for soup, guys. Start using all of your food. Make sure you use every bit of stuff up,
Donnie says, I don't understand why people have these big, expensive weddings. I would take that money and put it to a home or honeymoon. Don't ask me why. Yeah, I was very thankful. I spent $50 on my daughter's wedding because she did it all and she did it really cheap, but it was nice. Mm-hmm. And
it was a lovely wedding.
It's ridiculous for people to be doing these things.
And
I rented the chairs too, so I spent $150. I forgot about the chairs.
And another thing too, if you get it too big and too elaborate, people don't feel as comfortable, at a very formal, is what I'm trying to say, wedding type thing. I don't think they feel quite as comfortable sometimes, the average person.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. The next one, Deanna says her brother-in-law was a DJ and her sister-in-law caters, so she was set for her wedding on that. There you
that's
go.
For sure.
Bonnie says just elope. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to elope. You can thank Michael for my wedding. I told him I wanted to elope. He was like, oh no. I'm like, we can have all 6 people from your side of the family. The other 50 were from my side. Half of them I didn't want to see anyway. No, I didn't. Today is the 30th anniversary of Mike and I's first date. Everyone together go, oh, isn't that sweet? Lorianne says $11,000 wedding gowns. That's crazy. Oh my word.
And even on the honeymoons, my husband and I, we went and we drove up into the mountains into a little tiny podunk town, the types, that have these motels with the flashing lights and that mom and pop type things. And we stayed there the first night and we got kind of snowed in and the car wouldn't start or anything like that. And we had no food. You didn't have breakfast you got like you do nowadays. And we couldn't get further into town because there was so much snow to get food. We were starving to death. And finally we got away from there and got that all taken care of and drove into Denver. And we found the cheapest hotel we could find in Denver, spent the night there. And then we had to go home because it was Christmas 2 days later. And we had to hit. So we didn't have a fancy honeymoon, but you know what? It was okay. It was really just fine. So
Grace says I blame social media for extravagant weddings. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Bandana grandma, my mom's and aunts catered my wedding. Yep, that's what we did.
happened
Grandma
with
did.
us
Yep.
too. Get the family involved.
Edifying says there are cheap rings available on Amazon. Yeah, I've had probably 7 or 8 wedding rings now, and now I'm at the point where I don't even wear one because I keep getting it caught on stuff, and I'm afraid I'm going to rip off my finger doing a project sometimes. So,
and her first one came from a pawn shop,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So, how's the weather up in Northwest Kansas? Looking to move with a friend to Kansas. Hey. I mean, if you're moving to Goodland or Colby, I'll start praying for you. I mean, you're going to have really, really hot, dry summers, and you're going to have really, really cold, dry winters. And
Goodland and Colby get hit with more blizzards and more tornadoes
so
than even Wichita does.
Be ready for blizzards. Be ready for tornadoes.
Yeah.
And if you're prepared for those things,
and you don't mind them, that's fine.
Yeah, you'll be good. I mean, I lived in southeastern Colorado.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm talking about.
We know the area pretty good.
I have driven through Kansas. Let's see. I have probably, how old am I? 50? I have probably driven between Wichita and Denver minimum of 3 times a year. So 50 times 3. Have I only driven 150 times through Kansas? Oh, surely I've driven more than that.
And I've probably done even more because when the kids moved to Colorado and I was in Kansas, I drove.
Probably, I mean, I would say around 150.
Couple hundred for me. And so
I know it very well.
Summer and winter, it's
and we have been stuck in blizzards. We got stuck in Deer Trail one time.
And
so
and if you think about it, that area is not very, very populated, and there's a reason why that area is not populated. You have to check too, because I hit so many dead zones driving across 70 a lot. So if you have a business or anything that you need, internet, it may. Well, I don't know. It wasn't that long ago that I went through and my phone, I couldn't get phone service and stuff. So you need to check into those types of things too for up there.
Let's see. Yes, please. Connie says her wedding was in 96, had 40 people, just a piece, snacks, drinks. Yeah, mine was in 94. Yep, same thing. Kimberly, my own wedding was in the backyard, 50 people, roast beef, and fried chicken. Yep, there you go. Nancy says our thrift stores had a lot of wedding dresses. Yep, I would definitely do that. And Rosa agrees with us on the weddings. Vintage says, what is your best find at the thrift store? Well, I don't know it depends on the definition of best. So if you mean the most expensive thing I've ever found at the thrift store was probably Jack's tuxedo that I showed in the last video. It was $1 day at the thrift store, $1 for a bag of clothes. Mom and I went in and I said, oh, here's a suit for Jack for the dance coming up in a couple weeks, but it doesn't look like it'll fit him. She said, well, I don't know. I should have just bought the darn thing instead of making another trip for $1. But went home, got Jack, brought him back, had him try on the jacket, and it fit. I was like, oh, well, if he can't wear the pants, at least he can wear the vest and the jacket. So we get up to the counter and the lady was like, that's a tuxedo. I said, it is? And because I didn't look very carefully. I said, oh, it is. And she just thought that was the craziest thing. As a matter of fact, I got to go Saturday to tell her how much it was. So I brought it home. There were no tags except for one. And I was like, wait a minute. There's no size tags on this. This thing is hand tailored. So I looked up the company tag, go to their website. There's no prices on their website. To hem a skirt, $120. I was like, that's just hemming a skirt. So,
that's more than my whole wardrobe.
It took me a bunch of searching, but a regular suit from this company was $2,000. It's a company out of Denver. So I was like, yes. So somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 is probably what that suit was. So I would say that's my best deal. Mm-hmm. I also last week found a clock for $3, and I heard you mumbling. Another clock. No, I heard you mumbling. And I brought that clock home and sold it on Facebook Marketplace for $30. So I did pretty
Can I
good.
tell what my goodbyes?
No, I heard you mumbling about my clock.
She goes through the big clocks like crazy. Now, only quilters would probably appreciate this, and it's not as good as the tuxedo. But I wasn't really looking at duvet covers, but I walked past them and I saw this duvet cover, and it was beautiful, 100% cotton fabric. And it was $4. And I went ahead and bought it thinking I might use it for a duvet cover, but I wasn't sure. And I got it home and it wasn't quite going to fit, but I measured and figured out there was 12 yards of fabric in that duvet cover, and it was 100% cotton. And I figured up 12 yards of fabric. If I bought that same stuff, it would have, it's anywhere from $8 to $12 for that type of fabric now. And I got it for like 33 cents a yard for that duvet cover to use for the backing on a quilt or even to cut up for a quilt. And I looked that same duvet cover up and it was like $150, for that same duvet from the company that it was from and everything. But what I was really excited for, okay, this was a blessing, guys. I was wanting to make some hexie, only quilters probably understand this, a hexie quilt, an EPP hexie quilt. And you have to have these little hexagon papers to sew the fabric around. And I usually try to trace all mine out and cut them out by hand, but they make them already pre-cut and everything that you can buy. And I thought, I'm just going to break down and buy me some. They're not super expensive, but they're more expensive than what I wanted to pay. And I thought, I'm just going to do that. And I was thinking that like on Wednesday or Thursday, I thought, I'm going to treat myself a special treat and buy some of these hexies. And I went to the thrift store then on that next Saturday. And when I got there, I found $70 worth, a whole bag. And I added up the packages, $70 worth of these hexie papers that I needed for $2.50. I was so excited. I mean, it was like an answer of prayer. And it's really funny because a couple of times, Tara doesn't even know this, but I put a sweater on yesterday and I thought, I'm so sick of wearing the same sweater over and over again. I wish I could find me some new sweaters. And I drove over and stopped by Tara's. And what did you tell me when I got there? She had this huge white plastic bag. And she said, you want to look in that plastic bag? There's some sweaters that might fit you if you want some. I couldn't believe it. Here, just that morning when I put that sweater on was thinking, I wish I could have another sweater. So, it's really exciting to get things, not only just financially, but to know God provides this stuff for us whenever without even us asking, type of thing.
Yep. All right, guys, our Dining on a Dime cookbooks are 50% off right now. We do have full color pictures, not for every recipe. We can't possibly do it for every recipe because if we did, our book would be really huge. But 50% off if you buy the volume 1 and volume 2 together. And then if you add the gluten-free, dairy-free is also 50% off. Everything else by itself is 40% off for Mother's Day right now.
And for those of you that are new, you could go on our website, right? Mm-hmm. And look up the books and you can see page by page what's in the cookbook. Yep. If you're not sure what's in there, we have like all kinds of spice mixes that you can make your own seasonings, salts, yep, and all those types of things. So yep, that'll give you an idea.
Also, our undated planners are 20% off. I think we only have about 40 of these left. You can also see our planner on there. It has all your chores and everything so you can keep your house organized and clean and help you get your dinners ready and all that too. Did you send me the next ones, Mike? Okay. Nancy says receptions used to just be cake and punch. Yeah, mm-hmm, it's gotten ridiculous now. Heather of the Mountain says had a lovely simple ceremony at a local park. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Those are all good ideas. Yep. Yeah, good ideas.
Hello, Connie in Deadwood.
Hi, Connie.
How long will the 50% off be till May what, Mike? 3rd. May 3rd. Friday, May 3rd. Blessed. But if you want our planners, we've only got like 40 left. When those sell out, they're out. Blessed. I'm thankful I got an affordable wedding dress at Old Navy for $30. There you go. Yeah, I think our daughter spent like $30 on hers too. EP just bought another planner, volume 1, 2, and 3, gluten-free printed books. Thank you. Marie, I just ordered Dining on Dime volume 1. I've been getting and using the ebook version, so already know how much I love the book. That is great.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad. Nancy, my husband and I married. We had cake, punch, nuts, and small mints. Yep. My children's wedding's a big difference, I bet. Yeah. I'm glad I have 3 sons and not 3 daughters. Connie, I was told some bad stuff from my sister when we purchased our rings from a pawn shop. She said was bad coming from a broken marriage. Hers was brand new at all 3 of her. Hers was brand new at all 3 of her marriages. I'm still married 28 years later. So here's the funniest thing. When we went to go buy our wedding rings, we went to, in 1994, we went and got, we were looking at Mike, and Mike found one, but then on the inside it said Forever Alice, 1992.
1992.
We're like, yeah, I don't think so. Donnie says, I love the planner. Everyone should get one of these. It keeps me on top of things. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, Connie, her 3 marriages. That's so funny.
That's funny.
Heather, I rented my wedding gown. There you go. Oh, please rent it. This is ridiculous. There's no reason to keep your wedding gown for your daughters. Believe me, your daughter's not going to want to wear it. No, this is not very 1872 rare. Anymore.
Yeah.
Debbie says she has volume 1 and 2. It's just red and blue one, and the 20th anniversary, which is the precursor to those. She loves them.
Thank you guys for letting us know.
Kimberly says grilled cheese and soup is always her fallback for dinner. And if you guys want variations on grilled cheese, we have them right here in volume 2. We have 10 or 15 different variations for grilled cheese. Mary found great deals in the clearance at the grocery store. 16 ounces of candles for 21 cents each. Bought 21 great gifts for 21 cents. That is a good deal.
Very good. Yeah, that is really good deal.
Bandana, when I start my plants from seed, I plant a lot of extra and sell them. Very good. I always sell out. Yeah. If I had room, if I had a greenhouse, or if I had room, if anybody knows a greenhouse supplier who wants a sponsored video, I'm happy to do it. But if I had a greenhouse, I would do that also, because I like growing them. I just don't like dealing with the vegetables afterwards. But I don't have enough space right now. Yesterday I got my seeds in their pots and let the snow water them. So hopefully that'll be getting going for me. Doodle Toot, I'm already receiving invitations to graduations from people that we barely know. How do I handle this? My husband thinks we should go to each one, but each one is expense. Just say no.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, there's no reason. I would say nieces, nephews, of course your children. Please go to your children's graduation. But I would say nieces and nephews, and maybe if you have a very best friend or 2 that you have been friends with for the last 20 years, maybe. But this going to every one of your kids' friends' graduations, that there's no reason for it. It's ridiculous. No.
Yeah, you have to. It's like the birthday parties that have gotten out of control. They invite the whole school almost to come to the birthday party. You know, it's just you just can't do that. You have to. And there's nothing wrong. If they get offended at you for doing that, they're the one with the problem. Just think of it that way. It's not you.
Yeah. No, that is a major boundary issue to be having every Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's ridiculous.
And most of these people, they don't care about you.
They just want the money.
They just want the gift. You know, a lot of times that's what it is.
Heather of the Mountains, I was recently given a package of frozen shelled mussels. I have no idea how to prepare them. I have no idea.
I don't know about mussels either.
You'll have to Google it. I don't.
Do we have any New Englanders out there that can tell us, or from Louisiana or something?
Mary says dry erase works great on tea and coffee stains and cups. Yes, it does. The little things, those work really good for that. They also work really good for cleaning the slime off your tub and all that too. Nadia, midnight here in Portugal. Wow. Hello.
Oh, thanks for staying up to watch us.
Portugal. Why would it be midnight in Portugal? Are you guys that much further east than we are? I guess you would be. Yeah, I guess so. I thought you guys were more west, but I guess you would be.
That's something.
Still awake with a sick child, but it's a good excuse to catch a live. Yay!
Oh, thank you. Sorry, your little
Yeah.
one's sick, though. That's
We made
awful.
her company while she has heartburn.
Oh, dear.
Bernadette, the volume 1 is the same as the anniversary edition. Yes. Emily just ordered gluten-free, which is the green one in volume 2.
Oh, thank you.
Heather of the Mountains, I'm so grateful to you guys. The next one's Mike. I'm so grateful you guys aren't using the new life format. Thank you. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by that, but you're welcome. I don't know that we did anything. Mike did turn off the ads, I think, because people were having problems. And if you're having problems with that, you guys need to update your browser that you're watching with. So make sure you do that. Wanda, I don't like living in bigger towns. Too much traffic. Yeah, I don't either. Shelly, thank you for your input on Kansas. I knew you'd give it to me straight. You just got to be prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like people from California moved to Wyoming, and the first year of their hair going through first winter, they're not prepared for it.
Now, I was there for 45 years in Wichita, so, you know, it's not horrific. It's not horrific by any means. It's just the weather was really hard, especially with us being sick.
Kelly says an ambitious hello from Northwest Kansas. Yeah, I'm not saying every person from those states don't have any ambition, but let me tell you, there is a very prevalent personality back there.
Well, each state has their own different personalities and own.
Colorado's a bunch of snobs. Kansas has no ambition. Wyoming, let's see, what's Wyoming?
Idaho,
Wyoming is very cautious.
Idaho is cautious too. They don't know if they should speak to you or
not.
make eye contact.
Yeah.
It's fun. But Southerners,
Southerners
very
just
helpful. And you know who else I love? I love people from Nebraska and Iowa. They are so
helpful.
sweet, you know, and some areas of Minnesota too.
Yes.
They're just really.
Let's see. EP $400 wedding dress that was simple and could be reused. Yep, there you go. Kimberly, my freezer. Did you send me the next one, Mike?
And along that line about being reused, I was in a friend's wedding and she was so sweet. She said, we're going to go to the store and we're going to pick out a dress, a kind of a dressy dress for you to be my matron of honor. And she said, but we're going to pick out something that you can use on a regular basis, like to wear to church or something a little bit dressier. And I thought that was so sweet. She picked out the color that would be good on me, you know, and that I could use. And that was one of the nicest bridesmaid dresses I ever received because I used that dress for years then, you know.
Yeah. Kimberly says my freezer leftover shelf is almost empty. We've been eating leftovers for 2 weeks. Very good.
Very good.
Now she's got room to buy stuff on sale.
Very good.
Dale says, in my case, Dale is a girl. Oh, sorry, Dale. Sorry about that. Olympia, we will be married 45 years come November and still have no honeymoon. Well, maybe you should take one. He got married and he was shipped away.
They probably don't need one now.
I think you deserve one now. I always say you should not have a wedding or honeymoon until you've been married at least 10 years. If you make it to 10 years, then you can have the wedding and the honeymoon.
Well, you mean get married. Just don't have a big wedding.
No, you can get married, just don't have a wedding.
Have a big wedding, yeah.
There's a difference between getting married and having a wedding. Yeah. Joanne, where do you buy our cookbooks? livingonadime.com. It is in the description below and in the comments. Mike will put the link. Elaine, I got the books. Elaine, I got 3 kids, 18, 18, and 20, getting ready to move out. Yay for you! Oh, whoops. I spoke too soon. I'm scared and sad. Kat is way too excited. Do you have any advice?
Oh, dear.
My advice is enjoy it.
Yeah.
I am sorry. I have no emotions. I'm sorry. I just don't have emotions. But I cannot understand people when they say they're sad because their children are leaving. You're raising adults. You're not raising kids.
Leave home.
So you have accomplished your goal of raising an
So
adult.
now it's time to start on another goal and
So have
enjoy your
some fun.
husband and enjoy
Go travel.
yourself or do something.
Take all the money you would spend on them and go travel or something.
You know, just look at ways to get some new hobbies if you want to, or start a new job. And like with me, I would have gone to a quilt guild and make friends at a quilt guild, you know, or whatever. But yeah, this is like, it's like can be one of the best times you ever had. I was so excited when my kids were gone and everything. And so,
yeah. So enjoy it. It's me. Terry says many people are wearing the rings made out of rubber. Yeah, that would make sense. I think my son-in-law has that. So yeah. Or no, not him. Somebody else. I don't know who it was, but Emily, better 7 or 8 wedding rings and 7 or 8 weddings. Yeah. Well, my original one got sucked up in the vacuum cleaner, and then my son, we thought it got sucked up in the vacuum cleaner, but then my 2-year-old son told us he'd thrown it in the trash. The next one I smashed. I was loading a 4x4 in the truck and I smashed it. A couple of others, something happened and they got tarnished. One of them my daughter found at the park. So I wore that for a wedding ring for a while. So,
poor Mike.
yeah.
I'm laughing because Mike was so serious about getting her wedding ring and all this, and he was so excited. And he had no idea she was going to go through a whole dozen of them before they got through being married.
I wasn't sure about that. Buying it.
He was not, Mike was not sure about buying it at a pawn. He's like, you really want me to buy you? Or I'm like, I do not. He already had $3,000 in debt. And I'm like, I am not going into debt for a ring. I'll end up eating it in my carrots one day or something. Kathleen says, thank you for this channel. I'm learning how to cook delicious, money-saving meals. My favorite tip from you thus far is cooking batches of hamburger to freeze for later. Very good.
It doesn't that help? I think that's one of the biggest things that helps me being by myself is having that cooked hamburger in there, you know.
And go check out our other YouTube channel, Super Easy Recipes. Guys, I am so frustrated with YouTube. First of all, people keep asking us, they're unsubscribed. I don't know why YouTube is doing that. So you'll just have to resubscribe. But yet we've been messing with thumbnails and titles and all this. So yesterday's title was, my husband asks for this for every dinner. And YouTube picked out, you can make your own thumbnail or YouTube can pick it out. It picked out a picture of Mike holding an empty plate. I'm like, seriously? I have never had a video do better. It's my all-time top performing video of Mike holding a plate, an empty plate with food still on it.
It was a dirty empty plate.
I'm like, seriously? And I don't know what my views are up to. Well, I probably can't go see, can I? I don't know what my views are up to now on it because it went berserk. This one video, I'm up to 6,000 views. I have never had 6,000 views in one day. I just was like, seriously?
I'm sure it was Mike's good looks.
See, it's this big smile. See, look here. How do I share? I got to share this. See, you got to see, present, share screen. Here we go. Now, look at that smiling face there. Oh, how do I make it bigger? Whoops.
Like, pinch it, do this.
There. Okay. Oops. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. There. Oh, there. Now, isn't that great? Look at that smiling guy. No wonder people are clicking on it. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Next, Kimberly says she thought it was a good picture because it showed he ate it all. Yes. That's true. Sarah, hello from South Central Montana. Hello.
Oh, wow.
We had 4 inches of snow today. Yes, we probably did. It was 70 degrees. Yes, it was 72 degrees 2 days ago here too. As a matter of fact,
my neighbor was mowing her yard last night. It's not green yet, but she was mowing her yard. And this morning I looked and I had almost 6 inches out in my backyard. Yeah.
And I'm very sad because I think it froze all the lilacs. They were blooming.
Oh, no.
And once they bud out, if it freezes, and it's supposed to be 20 tonight, so it's not just like a light frost, it's like a hard
Oh.
freeze. So I think all of our spring blooming stuff is not going to bloom now, unfortunately. Karen, I already have volume 1 and 2 in the price book and use them all the time. She loves our books, so helpful and useful.
Thank you, Karen.
Guys, they're 50% off right now. Go check them out. And if you're outside the United States, because we don't ship outside the United States, we also have our ebooks for you on sale also. Heather, that tux was sweet. Great find. Jack will be styling and profiling at the dance. Yes. He's a very good dancer. Nancy, what a find you found with the expensive tuxedo. Yes, it looks expensive. Well, yeah, it's really
a sharp looking.
Yeah,
tux.
it didn't come across in the camera very well, but oh my goodness,
You
it's
can
a really
tell
nice
it's
tux. Yeah,
high end.
and we tried the pants on, and the pants fit too. I couldn't believe it.
Mhm.
So Nancy, I used to sew for people. I made 8 bridesmaids dresses once. Took me longer to make them than the marriage lasted 3 months. Oh my word!
Oh,
I hope you got paid well for that, and it wasn't volunteer.
that's a job.
Bounty in the Badlands. Neither we flip phones for when we go out on the highway. Yeah, because there's not reception. Yep. Callie, we just had dinner, Costco samples, the whole family unplanned, and walked out with the one thing we went in for.
Way to go. That's good. That is really good.
Terry, Tara, has anyone in your family tried a weighted blanket? And what's my opinion? So yes, several people, and we really like them. Although I found they kind of are they're really nice to sleep with, but they're kind of a pain because when you go to move them, they're heavy. So it just depends on if you
But
like
they
them or
do
not.
work to help
Yeah,
them
they
sleep.
do work. They do work. Wanda, a dress for my second wedding was bought at the Junior League yearly sale. Yep.
Mhm.
It was a formal dress with tags, never been worn, and cost $2. Yep. Denise, I have a lot of cookbooks. Volume 1 and 2 are hands down the best I've ever owned. Thank you.
Thank you.
She uses them every single day. Cynthia, I want to sell a few things on Facebook Marketplace. Mike, can you send me the next ones?
Yeah.
I want to sell a few things on Facebook Marketplace, but the shipping process intimidates me. I don't ship anything on Facebook Marketplace. All I do is just choose local pickup. So you can ship it if you want, but I don't. I just do local pickup. Cheryl says, got all the cookbooks and they are well worth the money. Thank you. And Nancy says, oh, have you tried selling locally with Facebook Marketplace? Pirate Ship has cheaper shipping charges. Yeah, you can get, like we have a bulk shipping thing through the post office because we ship so much, but I would just do local pickup. Nancy says, Mom's How to Fold a Fitted Sheet video popped up a few days ago. She couldn't believe it.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that for a while.
I wonder, is it going viral again? It might be.
You think?
I don't know. Let's
That
look
thing just won't go away.
Let's see if it will. Mom's one hit wonder.
One hit wonder.
Let's see. Analytics. Here it is. How to fold a fitted sheet. Nope, it's not going again, but that's okay. Must have just popped up. Okay. Heather says, I feel like God loves blessing us through thrift stores and secondhand. He is so good. Yep.
Yes.
Wanda, I love that orange with the white dots tops you had years ago. It was so bright and you look so great in it.
Oh, for mine, I still have that. I love that top. Oh, wait till summer.
Yeah.
I'll wear it again. I love that.
Yeah.
I love polka dots.
Lee, let's see. Or Terry, how many cookbooks do you own that are not your own? I don't actually. Well, let me rephrase it. That I use, I don't. I only use my cookbooks, with the exception of one really, really old one. There's an apple recipe that I like in this one really old one. All the other cookbooks are just for decoration. I own them, but I don't use them. They're just decoration for my old junk stuff.
And I don't even use our cookbook. I don't use any. I just use my recipe file. I've never really used too many cookbooks myself.
Yep. Bounty in the Badlands. Tara, worked our butts off all our lives, save for retirement comfortably. Our government just announced its budget now wants 66% capital gains. Oh my goodness. We now have to replan going to ranch till we die. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, it's frustrating. Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't get me started on that right now. Ben, you should went with the Alice wedding ring, and then when Mike talked to you and you didn't like what he was saying, you could just say, "Who, me? I'm Alice."
That's good.
Shelley says, "What? No mountains in Kansas?" Not really. No, there are no mountains in Kansas.
There's nothing.
I said only in movies from with writers.
Yeah, only in movies.
There's
yeah.
there's barely even any hills. I think the eastern part has a little bit of a hill type thing, but
probably 40 or 50 miles of sort of hills, but not. For Kansas, it's hills. Melissa, Tara, what is your biggest regret in your kitchen reno? And if you had to do it all over again, what would you change? Oh dear. Dear, do you want to
get the
answer
list
this?
out? Where's the list? We'll be here all night.
All right, Mike's taking care of that. First of all, I would not use butcher block countertops. I would just go with regular Formica. That was a huge waste of money. My countertops are splitting again. So now I have to go in and resand and re-epoxy, and I would never have used butcher block. I knew I shouldn't, and I should have listened to myself, but I didn't.
Make sure if you want something really, really bad, make sure you go ahead and get it like with your window.
Yeah. I am really glad that we wasted the $5,000 on the window mistake, because I love the new window and that's what I actually wanted. So even though it was a $5,000 mistake, I love the new window so much more that it was worth it. And here's the other thing. I wouldn't have used the old sink. I don't like the old sink.
What?
I
Sorry, you have to live with it till you die.
I know I have to live with it till I die now. But I don't like it because porcelain is a pain in the rear to take care of. Stainless is just so much easier to take care of. Porcelain also, if you drop something, it just shatters. Stainless at least has a little bit of bounce for most of it. The drain boards are nice, but everything slides off. So I don't like that. It was a huge pain in the patootie trying to get our faucets to work and our soap dispensers to work. So I wish I would have gone with just our regular sink that we had. We wouldn't have also used the old sink because now we have to reach over cabinets to put stuff in the dishwasher instead of just having the dishwasher next to the sink. I don't like that either. We would have left the built-in for the refrigerator because the noise on the refrigerator is ridiculous, to the point that we are thinking about building another built-in to wrap around it to put soundproofing in because it's so loud. What do I like about the new kitchen? I'm really glad we chopped down the countertops and moved the sink to have the big bar.
Mm-hmm.
I am really glad I painted the cabinets because it is so much brighter. I'm glad we did the under cabinet lighting because it is so much brighter. Let me think. What else, dear? We would have probably done the majority of the remodel ourselves. We really like our contractors and they're really nice guys, but if we would have known it was going to cost us $50,000 to do it, we could have done it for probably 10. And a lot of stuff we were ending up having to do ourselves anyway because they were dealing with snow or something like that. So Mike had to do some of the electrical and some of the plumbing and some of that stuff. And so even though it was nice having them, at the same time, it didn't save us any stress. We thought by paying that money, it would save us stress, and it did not. It was just as much stress as before. So now, do I like the kitchen? Yes, I really, really like it. For the most part, it works pretty well. We did have to spend about 6 months adjusting cabinet drawers and pulls. If you go to redo your cabinet, paint your cabinets, Do not, I don't care what your contractor says,
Take the doors off.
do not remove the hardware
Mm-mm.
or the slides.
Mm-mm.
Do not do it.
Yeah.
They can tape those off and paint around them, or you can tape them off. But let me tell you, we spent 6 months adjusting drawers and slides because they just do not go back into place correctly. So, and the other thing I would have done was I would have gotten new kitchen cabinets. It probably cost us as much in as much of them spending time, and it cost us as much as their time paying them to cut down the cabinets and all of that, as to just go and buy new cabinets. Probably it was pretty awful. I do love the pantry, and I'm really glad we put that in. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the pros and cons.
I was taking out the old pantry, put a hole in the wall, and sunk the fridge into the wall.
Yeah, Mike said he would have, and actually we could still do that. I have thought about that, except there's a pipe back there.
I have to reconfigure the pipes. Yeah.
So we had thought about, there was an old pantry on the back side and
Of the refrigerator.
and we both had thought about pushing that in the wall, except that when they pulled it out, there's some big piping back there, so we'd have to do something with that. But yeah, the refrigerator has been the biggest headache, and it's still the biggest headache. And so it's kind of frustrating spending that much money and you still have issues like the refrigerator. That really makes me mad. Heather, with our knowledge and expertise with my knowledge of expertise in gardening, any greenhouse manufacturer should be honored to work with you. I know, I'm a darn tootin' good gardener.
Can I tell them about my geranium?
Well, your geranium is doing well, yes.
Oh, guys, maybe next time I can show you a picture. But the kids always tease me about my flowers, but my geranium, and I don't particularly like geraniums. I just brought my geranium in for the winter. That thing, I measured it like 2 days ago. It's 3.5 feet wide and 3.5 feet tall. It's got 30 big blossoms on it. And I mean, it's solid with leaves, no spindly little straggly things. I mean, it's just isn't it solid with leaves? Green leaves. Biggest thing you ever saw. As a matter of fact, it's so big. I changed the pot out and now it's getting so much bigger than the pot. I had to bungee cord the pot onto the stand I have it sitting on. Tara hasn't even seen it since I did that because I was afraid it was going to topple over. It's getting so big. I've never seen a geranium this big. It's monstrous. It's just huge. So I was so proud of that crazy thing.
Lee, I've got 2 soft copy and 2 hard copies of the books. He wants to know why. Because if one breaks, you will have a spare. You need that.
Everybody needs 2 of all of those.
Of course, I had one lady. I'm like, seriously, lady? People, please don't do this. She had the book like 20 years and was literally falling apart, and she wanted me to replace it.
I remember that.
I'm like, seriously? You have had this book 20 years and you've been using it. Would you go to Barnes & Noble and tell them they had to replace it?
I mean, it had gook all over it, didn't it? And everything. It was it was really used.
Vicky says, I don't have a lot of friends and family. Saves me a lot of money going to weddings and graduations. Yeah. I was thinking about that with Jack. I was like, oh, man. Everybody at school. Graduation's going to be a nightmare. I got off lucky. My first 3 didn't have any graduation parties or anything. So I guess I'm paying for it with Jack. MLE, maybe the whole school could just have a school graduation party.
Yeah, that's what they need to do.
MLE says... She watched the Bob Newhart Stop It video and it's been life-changing. It is, isn't it? Think about it. Just stop it. I know. Hello, Tamara from California. Marilyn says, my engagement wedding rings were secondhand too, till I need them to resize. Yep. Oh, until she had them resized, she didn't know there was an inscription in one. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that is.
Teresa, thrift stores have very pretty wedding gowns. Yep.
Mm-hmm. My wedding gown. I hated my wedding gown. Oh, I hated my wedding gown. My mom kind of wanted me to wear her wedding gown, which I didn't really care too much about it. But then my husband, for some reason, he hadn't even asked me to marry him at this point. It was at my graduation. We were just dating. He found a wedding gown in an antique shop with one of those big, like Cinderella, big, huge, poofy, sticky out skirts on it. And so now what do? My mom was wanting me to wear her wedding gown, and my husband, he wasn't my husband at the time, of course, bought me this wedding gown that he just thought was so beautiful and great. I didn't really like either one of them. So my mom took the top from his wedding gown and added it to the skirt of her wedding gown. So I had like a Frankenstein wedding dress is what I ended up having for my wedding. It was just like, it wasn't bad. She's a beautiful seamstress. So my mom did a beautiful job on the dress. It just wasn't one that I got to pick out myself. It was
Well,
like,
that's your own darn tootin' fault. You could have told them
no, not really, because, my mother and my husband, I kind of wanted to honor them with that. So I did. So I just didn't know I was going to have to put the two of them together like that. And I didn't have money for a wedding gown too, so that helped.
Cheryl says Indiana's very friendly. Yes. And Minnesota's very friendly. Yes. Most of them are now.
Yeah.
Well, of course, now there's going to be so many Muslims moving in. My goodness. I was shocked when I went to Michigan. I was like, holy cow, are we even in the United States anymore? Because there's so many people that are not from there. Janet, grocery ads were not good this week. Nope, they're not. Maryland, Florida people are nice. Yes, our friends Goli and Fareed keep trying to get us to move down to Naples because they said they're just so nice down there.
That's what I say. Down south, you can count on the people
If I
being
had
nice.
a winter house, I could maybe do a winter house down there, but I couldn't do summer at all. Jim says, but Virginia's for lovers. Okay, can't quite see that one, but all right, I'll believe you. Mandy, South Dakota to Nebraska, transplant here and all. Oh, there you go. Lori, empty nest is hard at first, but then woohoo. Wanda, my Fred Meyer ad has whole chicken, 99 cents a pound, half gallons of milk, $1.29. Very good. Kathy, I have all 3 books, 1, 2, and gluten-free, and volume 1 for my daughters. Yay,
Oh,
thank
thanks.
you. And she has 3 more volume 1s for her younger 3 daughters.
Wow,
Great.
You are very prepared.
Yeah, guys, they're 50% off if you buy the 1 and 2 book set or the 3 book set. They're 50% off. Everything else is 40%, and our undated planners are 20% off right now, 400 pages, 366 days. Cecilia, each month our family incorporates 3 more tips from your channel or cookbooks. The first month we saved $386. Last month we saved $591. So thank you. Wow.
Very good,
That is
guys.
great.
Wow.
Wanda, my brother I think I'm going to be going back to more tips and doing more tips and compilations and dragging some of the old videos back in and just going that way because I'm tired of figuring out what YouTube wants. Wanda, my brother had part of a finger cut off because it was caught in something on a combine. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Tanya, I'm really bad with earrings. My husband bought me a nice pair of gold ones. Mistake, I lost them. I had a replacement and lost that too. Yeah, Joni loves listening to us. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Susan, Mike, I help with kids ministry at church. We have been having foster kids from Colombia that don't speak English or Spanish. Is it possible to get a Spanish version from you?
I asked
Bibles?
her to send us an email.
Okay, yeah, just send us an email. Send us an email. We'll see what we can do. I don't know if we can find something. Journey Under the Sun says, I just checked and now I'm unsubscribed. I know. Can you send me the next one, Mike? Joanne just bought 2 cookbooks and 2 planners. Thank you. Wanda, Mike's saying feed me with the empty plate on the thumbnail. Yes. Vicky says she watched our video on my video on super easy recipes yesterday with Mike on the thumbnail. And she says it was a good video. Thank you. The Ruck Farm. Oh my gosh, I totally clicked on that video because I saw the empty plate and had to know what you made. Well, that's good to know. Now the question is, how many thumbnails with Mike holding an empty plate can we
get by with?
I don't know.
Maybe you could try
We'll
a bowl
have to
with the
see.
next one or an empty mug
I
or
don't
something
know.
for the next one.
Hey, on there, I'm sure it'll be great.
Oh, listen to this. Mike's on there. He's sure it's going to be great.
Here he is. Here, we'll show you guys. Here he is. There. Look at that handsome dude. Oh, except I can't mute your mic.
Now we can't get rid
I'm
of you.
unmuted now, but they'll hear us double now.
Okay.
Yep, I'm the most humble guy I know.
All right, let's see. South Loop River Homestead says YouTube doesn't normally offer your other channel, but yesterday showed it. Yes, thank you. I'm trying to get that channel going because Living on a Dime is basically dead. So I'm trying to get that channel going and see if we can get going on that one. Heather, do you think quinoa is expensive? Yeah. I mean, compared to stuff like rice, it is. It just depends on what you're now. Like for me, I'm gluten-free and kind of was needing to eat it for a while, but I just couldn't do it. It was like eating little worms. So I know that isn't what it is, but it just seems like it. So, okay. Next is Vicky. It showed that he finished his plate, so it worked well. Yes. Oh, everybody's watching my. Wow. Well, thanks, guys. Everybody, Beverly and Susan, everybody was watching it. And Kimberly, too. Wow. Everybody said they were wondering what Mike had eaten. But it was a really good roast. That Montreal seasoning. And I'm pretty sure we have it in volume 2. Let me look real quick because I don't want to lie. But Montreal. Yeah, page 344 in Dining on a Dime, volume 2. So one of our viewers sent me that, but right here, page 344, just refill it with that. So we've got the Tennessee dry rub and 2 steak rubs,
Cajun.
hamburger seasoning, lemon pepper. We've got Southwest. We've got chili mix. We got spaghetti, Greek fajita, mustard. We got it all.
We've got tons of seasonings in both books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of the other channel is Super Easy Recipes.
Probably, but if you use a lot of seasonings, the book would pay for itself just with the seasoning.
Just with the seasoning alone.
Mixes alone.
The link for what? Super Easy. Oh, yeah. Mike put the link in there, but it's also on the show notes if you guys can't find it. And in the description, it's usually in there also. The name is Super Easy Recipes, Lynn. Jade, my 24-year-old daughter lives with me. Just makes sense for us. She owns her car, is debt-free, and saved $120,000. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, to a point. I mean, it depends on why your adult children are living with you. So if they're just sitting there, mooching off of you, then I wouldn't really suggest that.
Doesn't
But kids
sound
do
like-
need to be living on their own.
Yeah,
So
doesn't sound
if
like
she's
she's mooching,
saving up
probably. She's
for
saving
something,
that's
possibly, but it's gotten to the point where parents think their kids just have to live with them, and they really don't. I mean, it's okay while they're getting through college or getting started and all that, but when they start getting to their 30s, like we know a couple because their kids can't afford to buy a house and they're in their 30s. Okay, sorry, it's time to be figuring out how to make your budget work here. Tamara, I'm asking for your cookbooks for Mother's Day. Good.
Oh.
Thank you. You ladies have helped me save so much money, and my family loves meals I have been cooking from your website. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thank
You guys are free. Like, we have a lot of recipes for free on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Wanda, I love having cooked hamburger meat in the freezer. I have to make flatbread pizza. Having meat already cooked is great. I just add whatever veggies I have. I also put the tomato soup and other stuff. Yep.
Makes dinner go so much faster. You don't even have to think. You know you've got it in there. You just grab it out and you throw something with it, and it's really easy.
Kelly, you ladies are awesome. Thank you for all you do. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Melinda, we eloped, got married before a judge. I've been married 57 years in a few days. There you go. Terry, it's amazing what people spend on prom as well. Oh my goodness, don't get me started. South Loop River says, I think the sink looks great. The sink looks great. Hello, Rob. The sink looks great, but it's not very functional. So Mike hasn't noticed anything wrong with it. But anyway, I like the look of it. But I do miss my big old sink. Tanya, her favorite thing about my kitchen is the window. Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
The whole kitchen was the window. Heather, I was just thinking you ended up doing much of it yourselves anyway. We did end up doing a lot of it ourselves. We probably would have had another 10 or 15 grand if we wouldn't have done some of the stuff ourselves. Teresa, you did an awesome pantry too. Can you do a video of the kitchen again? Well, I already did 3 or 4 videos on it, so you can go back and look at those. And Nancy would love to see pictures of your geranium. And somebody asked, how do you take care of it? You've got in a south window and just water it.
I do nothing to it. I just water it. Yeah.
But she has a south facing window, so it gets a lot of sun. I don't have any windows. Even my great big window in my kitchen doesn't get sun because it has an overhang. So unfortunately,
I'm 72 and I've never seen a geranium like this before. It's like monster geranium.
Let's see. Terry, do you have remodel plans for any of your other rooms in your house? No. Nope, we're done. I would like to paint every room because it has this tan, kind of baby puke tan color on all the walls. But we have so many doors and windows and outlets. I'm just like, ugh, I really don't want to. But I would love to paint all of the rooms because I don't like the tan color. Connie, maybe what I should do is just paint 1 room a month. That would do it. Let's see. Oh, it was Connie who was asking where your geranium was located. Sean lives in northern Illinois. All of my vegetables I started from seed are doing well except lettuce. Oh, wow.
Oh, good.
Wanda, Tara, aren't you glad Jill didn't save her wedding dress for you? I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. Olympia, can we see the inside of the planner? Yes. If you go to our sales page, livingonadime.com, it shows what each page looks like. And someone asked earlier, and I think I missed the question, is the digital version a one-time print, or can you print it a lot? You can print it over and over again if you get the digital version. It's got your debt payoff. It's got your meal plans. It's got your chore charts. Huh? Oh, just no, I was getting ready to lift it up. So you can see we've got like the meal plans and the chore and the budgeting, and then we've got the chore charts and all that. So just go to the sales page. Well, good grief. Just go to the sales page. You'll be able to see it. Let's see. Okay. Any pictures of your Franken gown? I don't know. Did you keep any pictures?
Well, another thing on that wedding gown, I lent it to a family member years later, and she borrowed it to wear it for her wedding. And this dress was kind of weird too, because my mom's wedding dress wasn't really her wedding dress. It was my aunt's wedding dress that she had borrowed from my aunt. And so then years later, somebody else wanted to borrow my wedding dress after my mom had done it up. And I finally got it back, I don't know, 15, 20 years after this gal used it. And it was in pieces. I mean, it was like the sleeves weren't on it. And then another part was missing. So it was just in pieces. It was that was the weirdest wedding dress ever, I think.
Mike, you can send me the next ones. South Loop River, which tips for the money saving did you use? I don't know who she was talking to, so I'm not quite sure which that one meant, but that's okay.
But
she can answer.
As far as tips go, if you go to our website or check out the books, we have got thousands and thousands of tips, and they do, most of them, well, all of them, will do something, help you in some way.
A lot of people don't know what website we have.
livingonadime.com is our website, livingonadime.com. And Karen says, if World War III is looming, what do we do to prepare? Well, you need to make sure you have food, make sure you have water. I really wouldn't let your gas tank get below half a tank. And I would have some gas on hand if you can. We need to go refill our gas tanks. We use it all up on the snowblower.
Another thing too is make sure that, like I went to the dentist a couple of weeks ago. Make sure all your dental work, you need anything or any medical stuff done. Make sure you get all those types of things taken care of. If you've got maintenance on your house that needs to be done, get those big things done like that if you possibly can, because then the different things will be hard to find. Like in World War II, metal and building stuff, it was hard to come by that because they were using it for the military or whatever. So you just make sure that little things you've been putting off getting done in that way. Make sure you have those types of things.
Make sure you have Smith and Wesson to help you along if you need it. I mean, you're only going to be going so far with that, but at least it'll help you a little bit.
And if you have children, maybe have one or two sizes like up of shoes or pants and that type of thing if you can too.
Amy says we're in the middle of a tornado warning here in Pittsburgh. Yep.
Oh,
I get it.
That time of year.
Let's see. Margaret, helping folks declutter is popular on YouTube. Yeah, I have another friend who said, you're helping this friend. Could you come over and help me? I'll pay ya. I'm like, personal organizers get $75 to $100 an hour.
I would
like,
love
you can't
to do
afford
that.
Me.
I would love to do that.
But I'll probably go over and help her anyway. But yeah. Wanda, try golden mushroom soup on your roasts. Oh yeah. I'm dairy free, so I can't do that. But yeah, that would be good.
You know what else is good? They've got cream of bacon. Campbell's has cream of bacon. Oh my goodness, that stuff is good. And I put some in my potato soup, some of the cream of bacon in my potato soup. It's just usually for meat things like that, often the soups don't have quite the same flavor, but this tastes like real bacon, has been put in there. So try cream of bacon in some of your casseroles and things like that too.
What is one of the best ways to save money in your groceries? Right here, our price book, guys. This little thing is so handy. But what you do is you keep the prices, just pick 3 stores, and then you'll eventually memorize them. Like, I don't even have to use this now because I know what prices to pay for everything. But then you keep track and you only buy your groceries at the lowest price. This is the price books 20% off too, Mike? 25% off on our price books also, guys.
And buy things on sale.
That way you can just get everything on sale and you know when it's a good price.
And use all your food that you buy. Don't throw away leftovers and stuff like that. Use every bit of food. We've been preaching for years now, Tara and I have, that 50% of the food that people buy, they throw out in the trash. And all of a sudden, I don't know, it was about 5 years ago, they came up with this study the government had done, and they said 50% of Americans throw away, or all Americans throw away, most Americans throw away 50% of their food that they buy, which we've been teaching for years and years before that. And you just watch, you go to a restaurant and watch when people get up from their table, how much food is left on their plates when they leave at a restaurant. And you think about it, how many times do you throw away a half a cup of orange or juice, something like that your kids have just left? Half a cup of coffee, half a cup of milk. You just pour it down the drain, half pot of coffee. So that's 50% gone that you just poured down the drain of just the drinks alone. Cereal. How many times do you throw out a half a bowl of soggy cereal? So those are a couple of tips, that will help. And we have stuff like that in the books, tips like that in the books and on the website.
Denise, this is our price book. That's what it's called. Okay, let's see. Kimberly says, I use Montreal seasoning and Montreal chicken seasoning on a lot of dishes. Yes, it's very good. She also uses our seasoned salt from volume 1. Guys, they're 50% off for the sets right now. Shirley, hey, from Virginia, can't wait to retire in June. Ooh. And she's going to watch us more.
That'll be nice.
Wanda, I'm a cookbook collector. I love them. I bought your cookbooks, not just the collection, but to really use with your books. I wouldn't need any others, which my granddaughter pointed out when I gave her volume 1. However, I'm not getting rid of my collection, but yours is a book I actually use for cooking, not just reading. Yay.
Thank you for letting us know that. One of the first comments we ever got, we were in Idaho. We hadn't been selling the books for very long. And we had a couple of people that came and said the same thing. They had a huge cookbook collection for years, and they loved using ours. That's what they used ours. That made us feel so good. I remember us getting that letter from that lady or a couple of ladies.
South Loop River says, yes, I want to see more of the lady's house that I'm cleaning. Yes, it's probably going to be June or July before it's done. She does a lot of outside activities, and so she doesn't have a lot of extra time. So it'll probably be June or July. But yes, I will show you guys when I get done. Pin, your website's recipes are try it before you buy it opportunity. By the way, I have all 3 books and they're great. Yes, it is. That's why we have all of them on there for free. Yeah.
On the website, yeah.
Sandra, how old are kids now? 26, 25, 20, and 14. Yep. EP, love the recipe channel. It helps us that are visual learners to keep. I hope you keep it up on that channel. Thank you. Karen, got Karen's. Jill, are you going to do a tour of your house?
I might eventually. I was even thinking about doing at least the kitchen, maybe doing a video of it, but I'm still working on it. So
you can say my next one, Mike. Noreen, what you said about our daughters not wanting her wedding dress, that's hilarious. That's true. Kids don't want your stuff. I mean, they just don't.
It's funny you mentioned that because I read something on YouTube today that was like an article or something that said that exact same thing. For some reason, kids nowadays don't want anything from their parents that,
Yeah, and antiques, Mike said. Yeah, if you think it's an antique, your kids just see it as junk.
Yeah.
What do you do with a bowl of half soggy cereal? You turn it into muffins.
What you do is don't let the kids pour out that much. Start them out small. Instead of that's where what happens is people sit down at the table and they heap servings out of a serving bowl or pour cereal out of a box into a big, huge bowl. And they just fill it up and then they don't eat all of it because they get full. So start using smaller bowls, control the amount that they put in there, teach them. A lot of times we don't teach kids how to do that. We just say, go pour you a bowl of cereal. Teach them how much to put in there, and you start good habits with them is what I'm trying to say.
EP, is there a recipe in the book or a way to make angel food cake? That is one we did not do because when we wrote the books, eggs, it uses a lot of eggs and that could be really expensive. So we did not consider that a cheap. You can actually buy angel food cake cheaper than making it at home. So we did not consider that a cheap recipe. That's why there's not one in there. Echoing says, I got laid up after surgery, not able to work. Wife isn't able. What are my options or ideas to bring income? Oh my goodness. You're pretty much toast unless you can just do something on a computer. If you're laid up, I mean, I don't know what you would be able to do. I mean, yeah, I don't know how long you're laid up. I don't know if you're like computer savvy or whatever, but I mean, if you could do something on a computer, I would say that might work.
There are some jobs where you can be like for a telephone answering service. Like our doctors here in town have answering service when they're closed. And a lot of those gals are just people that are at home. So you could do something like telephone answering service.
I don't know. Guys, comment if you guys have any ideas.
Maybe tutoring, call the school and maybe you could do some tutoring for some kids from the school, something like that too.
Yeah. Belle says, hi from the UK. Hello.
Oh,
First time watching. I can't sleep due to stressing about my current kitchen refit. I thought of you guys. Yeah.
Oh, you poor thing.
That was very, very stressful. It was, let me tell you, it was not a walk in the park. That's for sure. Karen, thank you for answering. Good idea about the dentist and things to get done. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, really guys, if World War III happens, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You need to make sure that you got what you can, you're updated on your prescriptions, current on your prescriptions, stuff like that. But I mean, do things like lose weight. If you're on diabetes medication and it's type 2 diabetes, the majority of people who have type 2, I know it's not every single person. Every time I say that, I get some smart like, well, I'm 120 pounds and have type 2 diabetes. Yeah, but you're the exception. The rule is, if you have type 2 diabetes and you lose weight, you won't need your medication and your diabetes will go into remission. It is a preventable illness. And so stuff like that, make sure you're fit and exercising and physically fit and all that.
And I've got a stockpile of like vitamins too, and that type of thing, and extra medication, but also learn some skills. Make sure that somebody in the household knows how to maybe do basic building skills, basic plumbing skills. You don't have to be a full-fledged plumber or electricity. Go on YouTube now and watch some YouTube videos on how to do things. So many people don't even know how to build a fire. If you lose power and electricity or they cut off the gas, would you know how to build a fire in your backyard, and maybe have at least a fire pit thing, whatever they're called, or a barbecue thing or something, and extra wood, that type of stuff. And learn how to cook on a fire, build a fire, but learn some skills. Do you know how to do basic sewing so that you can mend clothes if they wear them out? I was thinking the other day, I don't think most people know how to darn socks. I darn my socks all the time. It takes like 5 minutes to darn a hole in the sock. People just throw them away because we can buy them for so cheap, but you may not be able to buy them again. And so learn basic sewing skills, just all kinds of different gardening skills, all kinds of things like that.
Niece says she made my grandma's apple pie and doubled mom's crust in ×2, and everyone loves it.
Good, thank
you. Yikes, I did too. Rocket Red countdown. That's the emoji. Everybody loves it. Oh, get it. I get it. Okay, everybody loves it. Yes, that is a very good apple pie. I don't even like pie crust, and I like mom's pie crust. Except now I'm gluten-free, so I can't eat it. But if you need a gluten-free pie crust, right here, I changed the recipe, and now it's gluten-free, and it's really good for our green book. Heather, get current on medications. Yep, get all that stuff done. Yep. Wanda, she's never heard of cream of bacon. That sounds good. Yes, it does. You can send me the next one, Mike. Jade, my dog is at the vet's having 2 teeth pulled and cleaned $1,500 later. Oh my word. Listen. Okay, she's in Australia. But listen, guys. This is a tough love moment for Tara. The pets have gotten out of control. It's fine if you have one dog or something, but I know of people who have literally spent $5,000 to $10,000 saving their dog with cancer treatments, only to have them die 6 months later. I get you love your dogs. I get they're like family, but they are not your children. And as humans, we are to have dominion over the animals, and we have to make wise decisions. It's not good for us to go into debt or bankruptcy trying to heal an animal. It's just not. You're going to have to make decisions on how much money you have in cash that you can pay for these things, and stop having 3, 4, even 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dogs. We had one lady email the other day, and she's like, well, how do I save on pet food? And she had something like 5 dogs and 7 cats. I'm like, get rid of some of your animals. I'm sorry. I hate to be mean, but there's a reason why 20 years ago, people put their animals down, because it's just not reasonable to be paying for these things. And I know that's a little bit of tough love. I know people don't want to hear it, but once an animal dies, don't go get another one if you have 3 and 4.
Well, I was going to say, we know what it's like to have a dog. And if it's been in the family, of course, you want to do everything for it. And we don't expect you just to give it away if it's been in the family. But what I get frustrated with is I've heard people that they can't afford a down payment on a house. They can't afford their car payment. They can't get out of debt. And they go and they get 2 or 3 cats from the Humane Society, You should not be getting extra things like that if you're in debt. You need to, especially now with things the way they are, don't be getting extra animals and stuff that are going to cost you more money and that you're going to have to scrunch for food for, especially in emergency situations and things. But I was watching on TV a dog food commercial. And this is the kind of stuff I think people are doing. you can have the dog, but stop doing this type of stuff. And I'm not saying you're doing it, but I mean, in general, people are doing this. They were showing this. I used to use your kind of dog food, but I don't do that anymore because I found this here dog food is way better. And it only costs like,
Well, it's raw dog food. Well, it's just hamburger. If you're going to do that, go down and buy you some
well,
hamburger.
not only that, this wasn't raw. This was dry food. And they were listing the ingredients. And one said the one that she said you shouldn't buy had chicken. The other one had, what was it? Deboned chicken. Okay, deboned chicken over chicken. You got to use some common sense on this. First of all, my mom and I used to cut the bones open when we ate chicken and dig the marrow out of the bones because it tasted really good and it's good for you. So even if that chicken that the cheapy stuff had bone, they ground up bones and put in there, that's a really good part of the chicken for dogs to have. But they were making it sound like you need to spend way more because I just had deboned. You know why? Because most people buy skinless, boneless chicken breasts. And they want to feed that to think that that's the best stuff for their animal. Guys, our food is not necessarily what we eat. Avocado or whatever is not necessarily the best thing for a dog. And so these expensive or non-organic or organic dog foods and stuff, the dog will go out and eat dog poop. I'm sorry. Why do you think that this dog food is going to be so healthy for them? You've got to face reality here. It just, by him going outside eating that stuff, it's going to counteract all the others. So just get the cheapy dog food.
Well, and go to vet schools can do some of this stuff for you. Call around to different vets. Now, she's in Australia, so I don't know if you can do this in Australia. But here, my goodness, if it's $1,500 here in Sheridan, but I can drive an hour and a half each way to Gillette and it's only $300, you better bet I'm driving the hour and a half to Gillette to save myself $1,200. And then don't, like Mom said, don't use the expensive food. Don't do the expensive treats or all the expensive toys or all of this stuff.
Well, they have now, and I don't know how much these kits are, but they're like you get $100 discount. So I'm thinking, how much do these? You can get DNA kits for your animal. Why would you need a DNA kit for your animal? Well, in case his breed maybe might get this. I'm sorry, I go to the vet. The vet said this breed usually does this. Why do I need a DNA kit to tell me that? You know, dogs aren't going to live for that long. You know, it's another way for them to make money off of you. So, you know, be just kind of careful. You can have a pet if you've already got one and keep it, but just try to think of ways to save money with them.
And if you can't afford more than one, then don't get one.
Yeah.
Or if you can't afford it at all, when this one dies, don't get another one.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, do you think it's a good idea to get a freeze dryer for food? No, I mean, if you're talking about strictly from a saving money point of view, no. I mean, it's fun to have. I have my friend Kimmy from She's in Her Apron. She has one. She thinks it's fine. She likes it and she uses it all the time. But if you're actually talking about saving money, you can buy a lot of food for $3,500 to put in your stockpile. So I would,
there's a lot of
spend my money
cheaper ways
else
to preserve the food, you know, for less money.
Denise says, I have all 3 cookbooks in my daughter and we use them often. Friendly, easy, well done cookbooks. All great ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, 40% off if you buy the single books, 50% off if you buy the sets. 1 and 2 is a set, and then volume 1, 2, and gluten-free is also a set. Off topic, but when it comes to clothes, are y'all minimalistic? So no and yes. I don't really just go and buy a lot of clothes.
Mm-hmm.
But I had lost weight, and so I bought new clothes, and then I had gained weight back again. So I have kind of 2 sets of clothes at the moment, which I'm just going to go through and dump. But I don't buy a lot of clothes. I don't like clothes shopping.
And I have, my closet's just slightly bigger here. And so I have a closet space, and whatever will fit in that closet space, well, that's all I'll have. If I find something new, I'll get rid of something, that type of thing. I don't like to keep things that don't fit me, that don't look good on me, that is torn or something's wrong with them. I try to keep each season I go through and try to get rid of stuff if it's not working.
Denise says, my husband and I enjoy our recipe channel too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Heather of the Mountains, I just saw an advertisement that Marriott is hiring work from home remote positions. There you go.
Oh, that's a good idea. Mhm.
Denise, you two ought to do a fashion show of secondhand stores. Yeah, probably won't, but that's a cute idea. I don't know.
Well, now this top, that's another thing. I get all my clothes at a thrift store, so my clothes are not a big deal. I probably don't even spend, oh my goodness, $20 a year. I don't even know if I spend that much a year on clothes. And this here is a cashmere sweater that I have on, and I paid $2 for it at the thrift store, and I've now had it for almost 20 years. And so I buy a lot of classic type clothes, so I don't have to replenish my supply a lot.
Nancy says our gluten-free cookbook has amazing recipes using simple ingredients. It's become her go-to cookbook. Yes, thank you. It is, isn't it? What do you think are the best days to go to thrift stores? Well, you just have to figure out your thrift stores. It just depends. So like as a general rule, I would say Monday or Tuesdays, because on Saturdays, a lot of people are unloading their stuff and they're getting it out. But it just depends on your community. Like here, there's 3 thrift stores that are only open on Tuesday and Thursday. And so you just kind of have to, check your area and see. That's good, Mike. Check your area and see what you have there. Laura, good resources for learning basic skills are historical videos. Yes, like Townsend's. Yes, it is. Bounty in the Bedlands. Yes, we're in our 70s. Hubby is very crippled from a broken neck, but neither of us take any medications. We move slower, but we are a lot more fit than many 20-year-olds. Yeah. Amelia says, I remember darning socks. It took me a bit to find a darning spool I learned on. Cost me $15 10 years ago. There you go.
I got mine. I got one at the thrift store. Now, if you have to, for darning socks, and you have to be kind of careful, of course, with this, but my mom she didn't have a darning egg or whatever you call it. She would use a light bulb, and she put the light bulb in there and use the light bulb. If you don't have a darning thing.
Laura says the price of pets is going through the roof. Yes, pet food. Yeah. Kenneth says, so good to have you all help us in so many ways. You're welcome.
Talking about the pets, you might be careful. Something you might want to do is check out different vets. I just recently went to the dentist, and I went to one dentist, and she told me, you've got a cracked tooth. You have to make an appointment right now to have that cracked tooth taken care of. And so I was debating it. It was just, well, it's kind of a iffy deal. And I was debating, but so I ended up going to a second dentist, and he checked it out. He said, and I liked him much, much better. The whole experience was way better all the way across the board. The prices were better, and everything about this second dentist was way better. And he said, you know what? He said, yeah, the tooth is cracked, but he said, it could last you 10, 15 years even or more. He said, don't worry about it now, unless something starts bothering you. And he wasn't anxious just to get me to go in. Now, I say get everything done you need to. But if you don't have the money for it, what I would do is just be saving up. And then when I get the money saved up for it, I'll go in and have it taken care of. But check out different dentists like Tara does with the doctors. She found huge price differences in the doctors. And the same thing may be happening with vets. You may want to try different vets, call around, get prices and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mother Hen says our vet wanted us to get a cat MRI and see cat ophthalmologist for our 12-year-old cat. Oh my goodness,
wow,
that's so ridiculous. My cup says Phantom of the Opera, London. Yes, I got it at Her Majesty's Theater. Peggy, my granddaughter is a vet tech. She says she never feeds her dog people food. Yeah, whatever. That's what they ate for thousands of years. They're fine. Surely. I mean, if they have allergies, like our last dog had food allergies, so we had to buy him special food, but it was just chicken and rice, dog food, and it was still only $10 a bag. And so,
but what's so funny was for years they fed them just people food all the time. That's all they fed them. And then it went through, I don't know how many decades we went through. You had to buy just dog food. And now I noticed they've got these special refrigerator places at some grocery stores with special like meats, raw meat, or, you know, special
Ridiculous.
people food in there. And so now I'm thinking, okay, now it's okay to do people food again. They can't make up their mind. Do what you can afford. You know, it's the dogs, like I said, they go out and eat all kinds of weird things anyway. So just do, you know, basically good stuff that you can afford.
Yeah. Let's see. Heather says, it reminds me of when I ignorantly asked my husband, why do I never see beef cat food? He said, well, do cats eat cows in the wild? Well, now some cats do. It depends on the cat. If it's a mountain lion, which was coming after animals here, oh my goodness. But yeah, normal little cats don't. Andrea says, very cheap dog treats homemade. Yes, actually, we have go to livingonadime.com and I have a YouTube video doing it. I made homemade dog treats and they're super cheap. So go check it out.
Do we have them in the book too?
No.
Oh.
Vicky, I saved money on my cat by changing vet clinics. They wanted $1,800 for her teeth to get cleaned, and I went to another vet and they cleaned it for $400. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I say you need to check all these things out.
Oh my goodness.
Doctors, dentists, vets, all of this.
Yeah, I'm just so done with doctors. Good grief. Yeah, go to dentistry schools. Sometimes those can be good, sometimes not. Susan, I wanted to know why they didn't have mice flavored cat food. That's a very good question.
It is a good question.
That's a very good question. Guys, our cookbooks are 50% off for the print books for Mother's Day. Go grab them. If they get the sets, they're 50% off volume 1, 2. And then if you buy all 3, also those 2 sets are 50% off. Everything else is 40% off. And our undated planners are 20% off. And our price books are 25% off. And you can see all of the pages of our books at livingonadime.com. Go to the shop, and in the sales pages, you can see all of every single page in every book.
Were you getting ready to end?
Yeah.
Guys, remember to pray for Israel. I just wanted to let you guys know that keep praying for Israel before we head out.
All right. We will see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Mike and I will be back on Friday. We will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.